What's up, Multiverse? Dr. Dave here, and welcome to the Geek Lounge. In today's video, we're going to be checking out some potential future releases for South Park Funko Pops. Now, I wanted to do this video today because it is somewhat of an anniversary. Exactly 2 years ago today, I dropped our top 10 most wanted South Park Funko Pop figures video. It was like the 5th or 6th video we had done here on the channel, and it's actually one of our most popular videos. So I figured it would be pretty cool to revisit that video, go through my top 10, see if any were made, and those that haven't been made to see if they are realistic and or viable options for future releases. And in addition to that, I've come up with a whole bunch more really cool ideas for potential future releases in the South Park Funko Pop wave. But before we get to any of that, guys, I did just want to say make sure you check out yesterday's video because I reviewed the entire South Park Funko Pop collection that is currently available. There's a link, I don't know, whichever side it's coming up now. Make sure you guys check that out. So I'll very quickly list off the top 10 from that video 2 years ago. If you guys have never seen it, you will note that I did cheat quite a lot by grouping a lot of the figures together. But yeah, number 10, we had the rest of the Stick of Truth figures. Number 9 was the rest of the Good Times with Weapons figures. Number 8 was the rest of Coon and Friends / Fractured Butthole cast. Number 7 was Finger Bang. Number 6 was Preschool. Number 5 was Jimmy and Timmy as Four Legs and Roller. Number 4 was Man Bear Pig. Number 3 was Mecha Streisand. Number 2 was Randy from Tegrity Farms. And number 1 was Towley. And so they did actually make some of the figures from my list. My number 10 entry was for the rest of the Stick of Truth figures because at that time they had just announced Princess Kenny, and then earlier this year we did get the rest of them, or at least the 4 boys: Cartman, Kyle, Stan and Butters. There are of course more characters that were prominent throughout the Stick of Truth video game and those Stick of Truth episodes, but yeah, at least we got the 4 other boys. And I was, of course, very happy that they made my number 1 pick. I am, of course, talking about Towley. And they even made it flocked, which I really didn't even think about. So yeah, very cool. As for the rest of the characters on my list, guys, I did want to talk quickly about whether I think they are viable and or realistic options for future Funko Pop releases, starting with number 9, which was Good Times with Weapons. So at the time of that video, Shadow Hachi Stan had just been announced, and he remains the only figure we have from that classic episode. We do still need Cartman, Kenny, and Kyle in their ninja alter egos. But yeah, I think these figures, guys, are a matter of when and not if. They may even be the next wave that comes out. They have just released these in U2. U2's just released for pre-order their latest wave, the second wave, and they did the 4 boys in their ninja alter egos. So yeah, I do think it is just a matter of time when these are like made into Funko Pops. Like I said, it's really when, not if. Then number 8, guys, was the rest of the characters from the Coon and Friends / Fractured Butthole video game, because we already have Stan as Toolshed, Kyle as the Human Kite, Cartman as the Coon, Kenny as Mysterion, and Butters as Professor Chaos, but we don't have the rest of the cast. The only thing here is that these guys also don't have their, what I've been describing as, bog standard Funko Pops in their like kind of regular everyday outfits. So yeah, I'm really not too sure whether these ones will come to fruition. I hope they do, because there are some really cool kind of character designs. But yeah, I guess only time will tell. And then at number 7, we had the boys as Finger Bang, and I think this is a pretty realistic option. We do have Mezco figures of this already, the 4 boys. I think it is a 4-pack, and I think there was a Chase edition as well, where Cartman's lifting up his shirt to show off his, let's call them pecs. But yeah, I think this could be a pretty realistic option, and one of the things I think they could do that would be absolutely epic is to make it into a deluxe album, right? Have the 4 boys, have an album cover as well. I think that would be pretty sick. Then number 6 was the boys again, all grouped together, this time as preschoolers. I think there are some pretty cool, funny, unique looks in these. You could have made them slightly smaller, a bit like how the Ike Broflovski pop is as well. But yeah, I don't really know whether they will make these. I kind of feel that they could. Well, I mean, they could make anything, right? But I feel there's so many other sort of designs and things that I just kind of see Funko making before we get to these. If they do ever release it, though, I think it does make sense in a 4-pack. And then number 5 on my list, guys, was Jimmy and Timmy as Four Legs and Roller. And yeah, I have to say, I don't think this one will ever come to fruition. I do even wonder if we'll have Jimmy and Timmy in their regular everyday outfits made into Funko Pops, because, you know, they are handicapped characters. And I do sort of wonder, like, you know, Funko Funko, they probably have like shareholders and whatnot who would probably get upset with Funko Pops like this. You know, we all know what South Park is like. It's no holds barred. They take no prisoners. You know, it doesn't matter about your race, your sexual orientation, religion. You know, like I said, they take no prisoners. They go after everybody and kind of make a joke out of everything. So you never really know. But yeah, I really doubt we'll get these figures. Then number 4 on my list, guys, was the half bear, half man, half pig, man bear pig. Again, yeah, it's a tough one because the character has featured quite a lot over the years. I think it would make for a really, really cool 6-inch pop. You could potentially have a chase edition where he is in his like tuxedo, that outfit, when he makes a deal with them because they want to play like Red Dead Redemption or something. I can't entirely remember the episode off the top of my head. But yeah, it still is to do with, like, I guess, global warming and everything like that. So again, it's sort of questionable whether Funko would go with something like that. You know, even though they have kind of like apologized for Al Gore and kind of, sort of support global warming now to an extent. I'm talking about Matt and Trey, the creators. But yeah, I still think it would make for a really, really cool pop, especially a 6-inch one. And then number 3 on my list, one even bigger, a 10-inch Mega Streisand. And yeah, again, I don't think this one will ever be made. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of controversy, right? Because it is like a parody of Barbra Streisand, but there's nothing else that's really too bad about it, I have to say. But yeah, I just feel there's so many other things that they would make before this, even though I think it would look really cool, like I said, as a 10-inch. Whether you go with that really old kind of classical silly look, or the one that kind of had like updated graphics from like the 200th episode. But yeah, there were controversies around those episodes as well. So yeah, like I said, I don't really think this one will ever be made, but it would be really, really cool. And finally, guys, number 2 on my list, because Towley was, of course, number 1, is Randy from Tegrity Farms. And similar to the Good Times with Weapons figures, I think it is a matter of when and not if this figure does get released. And again, similar to the Good Times with Weapons figures, U2s have made a Tegrity Farms Randy. I think he comes with Towley and maybe even a jar of weed. I actually haven't looked at the figure for a little while. I do want to grab those U2s though, because they do look really, really cool. But yeah, like I said, a matter of when, not if. Randy has been this Tegrity Farms farmer, for lack of a better term, for quite a few seasons now. So yeah, it makes sense to do it. And I mean, there are so many characters that still don't have Funko Pops that I think could look really, really cool, even if they just release them in, like I said, their bog standard casual outfits. I am, of course, talking about Mr. Mackey, Tweak and Craig, Wendy, Token, or I guess Tolkien as he's now referred to. I mentioned them earlier, Jimmy and Timmy. Whether they would make those, again, is questionable. The same with the likes of Big Gay Al, Mr. Slave. Questionable, I guess, for Funko as well. I mean, the list goes on and on. There are tons and tons of characters they can make. But what I have seen recently is that they're tending to make these kind of like quirky alter egos of like the 5 main boys. I always say the 4 boys, but it is 5 now when you consider Butters. And so with that, I decided to look up a whole bunch of the quirky alter egos for the 5 main boys. I am, of course, talking about Stan, Kyle, Cartman, Kenny, and Butters. And some of them would make for some really, really cool Funko Pops. So I've tried to limit them down to a few characters, otherwise we will be here forever and ever. Starting with Stan, I thought we could go old school here with the clone Stan. I think this one could look really, really cool with the extra long arm, the tooth coming out, the sort of weird hairs that I guess are essentially on his forehead. I think that would make for a pretty unique, cool looking pop. And the most recently released South Park Funko Pop figure is Digital Stan, released during San Diego Comic-Con. It is a really, really cool glow-in-the-dark Funko Pop, the only glow-in-the-dark Funko Pop released so far in the South Park range. And I figured you could therefore release Profile Stan, which was like the sort of alter ego, arch nemesis, whatever you want to call it, inside like that Facebook realm. He is red instead of blue. I think he was taller as well, right? So it would have to be 6-inch. But yeah, I think that can make for a really cool pop. But if I ultimately had to pick one, I know it is a little bit boring, but I would go with a Stan wearing his 100% Tegrity Farms t-shirt. I know he doesn't wear it anymore. I think it's like a season or 2 that he has now not worn that t-shirt. But yeah, I still think it was very cool. It was like a big part of like how his character transitioned. So yeah, I'd like to see that one. Next we have Kyle, guys, and I've gone old school again with the Chewbacca Kyle. Question marks over whether they could make it, of course, with the licensing, the legalities, because Chewbacca is, of course, a Star Wars character, but but I think it could make for a really, really cool pop. It was from like a really old Halloween episode. I think everyone was wearing the Chewbacca mask, weren't they? It was like a contest. I think did Wendy win it, even though she was wearing the same exact mask? I think Bunch wore the same mask, like I said, but yeah, could make for a really cool, funny pop. Equally, I think this one could be really, really cool. Kyle as a crab person. It's from that episode where they basically say the queer eye for a straight guy cast are like crab people, right? Very, very funny. I do always kind of remember the whole like crab people, crab people. Was it like tastes like crab, looks like people or something along those lines? But yeah, I think this one could be really, really funny. But if I really had a choice, I would go with this wild one, which is Hazed Kyle. It's when PC Principal and his, I guess, fraternity, you know, they haze Kyle and they do all these weird and wacky things to him. Again, the kind of like, I don't know if legalities is the right word, whether they would make this Funko Pop, because he does have, as you can see there, some phallic objects, let's call them, drawn over his face. But yeah, this Funko Pop could look really, really cool. There's some amazing detail there. And next up we have Kenny, and Kenny is a little bit challenging because he does really just have that like orange hood, right? I know there are plenty that we could go through, and there's some where they're grouped together, but I'll get onto those in just a little bit. So I've decided to go with the unhooded Kenny. It might be a little bit boring, but it's kind of different, right? I guess you could argue that it really would just be Funko putting on a new head mold onto the same body. It may be a little bit boring, but we have seen him unhooded a few times, so why not? And then we have Formal Kenny. Again, you could say this is maybe a little bit lazy because it would essentially be putting the like bog standard head mold onto a new body mold. But yeah, he wore this suit a few times. Didn't he work at like was it like Wings or something? I think it's been in quite a few episodes, so yeah, I thought Formal Kenny could be a pretty decent idea. But again, if I had a choice, I would go with Cheese and Kenny. The only issue is, how'd you do the eyes, right? Funko Pops, they either have black, white eyes, well, I guess some are different colours, but there's like no pupils or anything, right? So how'd you kind of make him look a little bit spaced out? Yeah, the rest of the outfit, I think they could do pretty well, pretty easily, as well as kind of having like cat pee over his face. But yeah, I just don't know how they would do the eyes. This figure, again, does exist as a U2s that looks really, really cool. But yeah, it's quite a different, unique look for Kenny. So yeah, I think it could be pretty cool. It is just a question of how they do the eyes. And next up we have Butters, who does actually have more alter egos than those other guys, but I have still limited him down to 4. One of the ones I think could be really, really cool is Gollum Butters from, what was the name of the episode? The Fellowship of the Ring of the Two Towers. It was something along those lines, where the kids are returning the porno, the like spoof Lord of the Rings porno, to the shop because they think it holds like some mystical power, and obviously Butters is the Gollum and calls it his precious and all of that. I think it can make for a really, really cool, funny pop. But then we have Survivor Butters, who I think has some really cool potential for a Funko Pop. It's from the Casa Bonita episode, where Cartman essentially convinces him that, you know, like the world is going to end, and like, because he wants to take his place for one of the boys' birthday parties at Casa Bonita, and yeah, he ends up like being in this junkyard. I don't know how long he's there for, but he essentially feels like he's a survivor, right? Yeah, like I said, I think there's some really nice detail on there to make for a pretty cool pop. And then we also have Vampire Butters from, I think the episode was called Ungroundable, right? I don't actually remember it as much as I do some of the other episodes, but I think it is quite a unique look for Butters. It could make for a cool pop. Yeah, I think he like turns to vamps because he kind of considers like he's ungroundable or something, right? I think that's why the episode is titled that way. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely a unique look for Butters, a different colour hair. You could have the like vampire teeth coming out. Again, it would make for a cool pop. But if I had to pick just one, I would go with Montekia Butters. And this was a very, very funny episode. Butters essentially becomes this Mexican hero by accident, Montekia. And I believe Montekia, if I'm not mistaken, it actually means butter in Spanish, right? But I think it could make for a really cool Funko Pop. You got the dirty face, the Viva Mexico hat there. He's got kind of like a rug on his back with his rucksack, the flannel jacket. Yeah, I think there's some really nice detail here, and it was from a really, really funny classic episode. And last but certainly not least, guys, we have Cartman, who has a ton of alternate egos that could make for some really, really cool Funko Pops. So I'm going to ream these off real quick, otherwise we are going to be here all day. We could have the classic Cartman with anal probe. We've got the hip hop Cartman, that's from a classic episode as well. The out of control control Cartman when he's the he goes onto the show as the out of control girl and does the whatever I do what I want. We have the psychic Cartman where he does the whole which is pretty funny. Sultan Cartman when he wants to, you know, essentially have his balls sucked. Eric Cartmenes, you know, when he becomes a teacher, how do I reach these kids? Gordon Ramsay Cartman, I mean, that episode, Cream Fraiche, was absolutely hilarious. I absolutely loved it. We have Slave Owner Cartman. That one may be a little bit controversial, where he goes to, like, the crack baby athletic commission, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, that one is probably far too controversial. I mean, we have the Awesome-O figure already, so why not have the Buddha Box Cartman? I think that could also look really, really cool. We then do have Cupid Cartman. Again, that would make for such an awesome Funko Pop. You know, Cupid Cartman was around for a while, but did he kill him off? I honestly can't remember. But if I did have a choice out of all of those, well, that's not my choice out of all those. My number one choice would be Cartman as Dog, the hallway monitor. I am the dog. I mean, the detail on that would look so sick. I don't know if there would be some legality issues with it, because it is, of course, based off, was it Dwayne Chapman? I think his name is Dog the Bounty Hunter. But it is like a parody essentially. But I don't know where that then, you know, comes with like Funko Pop licenses and whatnot, how well they can do with parodies. But yeah, I think this would make for a really, really cool Funko Pop. And I mean, there are still tons of iterations / alter egos, whatever you want to call it, for all of the characters, especially our main boys. There are some that I didn't include because they are like essentially gang together, right? I mean, you have them when they're all obese in the World of Warcraft episode, when they all become metrosexual, when they start up a Peruvian flute band. You've even got the more recent episodes where, you know, they're all there as their older selves, all of which could make for some really cool Funko Pops. And lastly, guys, I wanted to talk about a few potential Pop Town releases, because we did get our first South Park Funko Pop Town release earlier this year. It is PC Principal with South Park Elementary. It is very, very cool. Actually, there might be a bit of a glare there, guys. Let me show the back so you guys can see it a bit better. That is, of course, the glam shot. But like I said, we did take a closer look at all of the figures yesterday, including these two, the PC Principal and South Park Elementary. And there are, of course, some other like kind of classic and memorable buildings in South Park. We do see the police station quite regularly, albeit it is a little bit boring. You do have the classic South Park Police Department that you could do, and I figured you could release that with Officer Barbrady. We do not have an Officer Barbrady pop just yet, but you could also get the more recently seen one, the Park County Police Station, and I figured you could also release that with Detective Harris. Well, I think his name's like Sergeant Yates. It's not like Harrison Yates, so sometimes he's called Sergeant Yates, sometimes he's called Detective Harrison. But yeah, we haven't had him as a Funko Pop either, so again, I think that could be pretty cool. And this one I think would be really cool. City Walk, or I guess Shitty Walk, as it is referred to, coming with Mr. Kim. But again, yeah, I feel, is there some like kind of offensiveness on this one? Does it fit with like Funko's values? I'm not entirely too sure, albeit like City Walk has a really cool design and I think would make for a good Pop Town. And one of the most obvious ones, and one I would absolutely love, is Randy with Tegrity Farms. It's just a question of how you do it, because I guess the farm is made up of like fields and a couple of different barns, the house, obviously you've got the sign outside. So yeah, I guess Funko would have to be a little bit creative with it, you know, how they would do it and put it together. But yeah, I think that would be really, really cool, and I would definitely buy that. And lastly, something that is actually very, very recent, it is the Coney Island hot dog, which is of course the home of Cartman and his mum. I think it would make for a really, really cool design. It's just a question of which Funko Pop would accompany the town. I was thinking you could have Leanne Cartman's mum, because yeah, we don't have a Funko Pop of her just yet. But I did also think you could maybe do it with Real Estate Cartman, because that's from the episode, right? He, you know, becomes a real estate agent to compete with his mum, and he ends up messing up everything, and they end up losing kind of like all their money and have to move into the Coney Island hot dog. But yeah, I think it would be really cool. The Coney Island hot dog, part of me, you know, the design there would make for a really cool pop town. Like I said earlier, guys, there are a ton of characters, alter egos, iterations, whatever you want to call it. So I do think the South Park Funko line of figures will continue for a very, very long time, as long as Funko holds the license. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. So first and foremost, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me here on the Geek Lounge. It is very much appreciated, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If so, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Drop some comments below. What South Park character do you guys want to see be made into a Funko Pop? And we've got plenty more content coming your way, guys. I've got a few Funko Pop parcels to open up. One of those parcels does contain the 25th soda. If you guys have been following along, you know I will be opening up 25 unique Funko sodas. We were just waiting for that 25th soda. We have it now, so that video will be dropping on Friday, guys. Tomorrow I'll probably open up the parcel so you guys can see what I got. And then on the weekend, we will be dropping our Star Wars video as part of our continued Star Wars celebration here on the Geek Lounge. So make sure you guys stay tuned for all of that and more. What is the easiest way to stay tuned? It's very simple. Subscribe. Hit click, smash that subscribe button and enable those notifications so you don't miss out on any of that future content. Guys, thanks again for watching today's video, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out, nerds.